Yo, what's up, guys? I just did my stream. We went over the trades I took today, but I'm just gonna go over it again, just in case you guys don't want to go through an hour stream just to see what I took today. The recap, so I'll just do a separate recap. So I took two trades today. One in gold around 1800, very early on in the daily candle. You're gonna see why you can do that. And I took one in London session for continuation away from the high day. So let's kind of go over the narrative. It's really kind of mid. I always teach my students to at least be in at all times a 4 hour and above universal model. All right, always. So on the daily, do we have one? I would say no, right? Because you don't have a swing point from a key level, anything like that. This previous day closure is really bad. It's like an inside bar. But when you look back on this previous day, what it did, and this is what I mean, it's really not that clean. Because if this isn't a high, if this is a established high, which I already said, like this is not something that I really deem to be too amazing, right? As a high of the week, even though it held, it's because of, I'll show you why real quick. It's because of Euro has no wick, and I don't like SMT with a wickless candle, with a higher timber candle, or like for example, I don't like SMT with new day opening gaps, new week opening gaps. Like they can hold usually, but it's like short lived most of the time. It's usually short lived, but um, it held over the week, but you can see that this isn't really the cleanest reversal signature, right? Because if this is the high to reverse from, you can clearly see that we create this really deep retracement back into it. And, there's just multiple SMTs failing. We have this SMT, this SMT. We're like double sweeping. You have SMT at the lows. This is never a high probability sequence. This is literally like consolidation. That's literally literally consolidation. Like that's what consolidation looks like. We have SMTs on both sides, re-sweeping and all that, deep retracements. So it's like, it's not the greatest, but at the end of the day, this is definitely respected in some way, right? This is technically a relevant high, right? The space from these highs. We know that it's going to be hard for price to get up here anyways, because of that weekly wick. It's very, very large. See that? Very, very large. So we still want to be bearish. And yeah, this is a potential area we can continue from, right? Potentially, right? Here's the 4 hour universal model that we want to be within at all times. And it's the confirmation that really interests me. It's this 4 hour PSP, strength stretch PSP. Bearish close, bullish close. So that is really intriguing. And the PM session creates it. So if the previous session reverses, the next session do what? Expand. The day is opening up within that. So remember, if we're going to continue, we're going to continue from this range here, which is actually just the 4 hour range, honestly. Like, we just mark out the wick. We should be continuing from there. So the high of day is going to be created very early on because we're just opening up very close to that invalidation level, right? Very, very small invalidation level. So now it's all about, do we have a key level to expand away from? And the answer is really no, right? You don't have anything like hourly or the 30-minute or the hourly, nothing here. So this is the, I'm talking rare as hell case where I will use, I can use the 15-minute here. Here's why, dude. So check out what we did here. Before the day closed, what do? We started to retrace. You see how we started to retrace in this range? So obviously we want to see continuation from 50% of the range, ideally. And we already started to retrace. So the day is opening near 50%. If I go to the 15-minute, we have this 15-minute gap. You're gonna see the confirmation to this gap is what creates it, makes it somewhat high probable. But yeah, this is where it has to. If we're gonna continue from away from this SMT up here, gotta be early on in the day, man. It's gonna form, and it has to be from this gap. And if you play the first 30 minutes in the day, you can see that we have an SMT fill, and we have a strength stretch PSP. See that strength stretch PSP? So yeah, really good confirmation, obviously. Now this asset over here is not the greatest reversal signature. You can see that's kind of like consolidation almost, right? So this is what I was anticipating to happen, to be honest. I thought this was gonna happen low-key. But it just never happened. We play price forward, one more candle. This is what I took right here. Took it to that low, and I only went in with one mini because of the conditions and everything, but and I only took it this low, literally only to that low. So I'm not demanding too much, because think about it, even if I'm wrong, even if we're gonna go higher, for example, the day would still need to like probably open low first, right? Probably open low first either way. Probably take out this low to go higher. So either way, it's like, this is a really safe target. And I'll just take my 2.7R, so that low. This is where I thought we were going to go take out that high, but we just never did, dude. But as soon as you get this close here, guys, I can start to move my stop loss even more. So now I'm really risking nothing on this trade, right? Really not risking much. Let's do it like this. I'm already, trailing myself to about half the position there. So now I'm not really worried about it at this stage at all. And as you can see, it just consolidated. I really thought it was going to come up here. It just never did, which is fine, I guess. I mean, but it got really close, man, to my trailed stop loss, as you can see. It got really close. I don't know why I did that, but whatever. And then it ultimately hit. But, man, I could have held this trade. But it's just hard to know, bro. They're really going to expand all the way to these lows. If the daily has a nice close and stuff like that, I can maybe obviously anticipate it. But, yeah, I just was safe about this and just took it there, man, for about 2.7R. So, yeah, that's that trade there. But later on, if you play price all the way till this close, so as soon as we kind of open this candle, I can already start to anticipate a potential 4-hour gap forming here, because this next 4-hour candle, if it creates its wick and then starts expanding away, what happens here? These wicks are not meeting, they're not touching. So there's going to be a 4-hour gap. So you can see that I was already anticipating that maybe if there's draws open, we could already look to trade a continuation, right, from that 4-hour gap. And a 4-hour gap as a continuation is really nice to have, right? So that's what we create here. You can see this candle here. Let's actually switch over here because that's why I took it on. Boom, boom. So one thing I really liked about silver here is I had this draw open, obviously here, and you can see this candle expanded, this candle consolidated or / retraced, which is good, right? That's a continuation signature. So when we take this high out here, we know that's like manipulation basically. It's also a 2-stage SMT fill, which is like the best thing you can really have for continuation, a 2-stage SMT fill, specifically a strength switch, but this is the next best thing, right? Is just this here. But you're gonna see that the high of this is confirmed by a strength switch, PSP. You guys see that? Strength switch PSP here. This is technically the gap high right there. We take the high on this asset into the gap, close bearish. This asset we do not. There you go. Pretty simple, right? Now this asset was closest to the overall draw on the daily chart. So that's why I took this asset. Also had this draw here as well. So you guys see how we're always within a 4-hour model ideally. IRL, ERL, but there's a reason to continue. We're like aligning draws, right? You want to get to this draw liquidity, what do you need to be within, ideally, a 4-hour universal model? Now, of course, when you're within a 4-hour and above universal model, for example, let's say this order pain ranges, 4-hour high, 4-hour low. Of course, you're going to use hourly and 30-minute key levels to get to these draws, right? But in this case, we just took out this low. Where was it at? Where's our? I guess technically this is actually a what you call it? This is technically your 4-hour universal model. Actually, it's like technically something like this. It's called the hourly. Yeah, technically it's this. This is your draw liquidity. So it's kind of like a model inside of a model. Just after the expansion, we just end up consolidating a bit here, and it's because we had that 4-hour gap, right? But once you change to that, we get our close. So it's actually even better because it's like a model instead of a model. It's technically a 4-hour model instead of a 4-hour model, technically. But there's actually a reason to continue even through this low, which is really nice, right? But when I dropped to the lower time frame, what are we opening up within? Is basically we're just retesting, essentially. So this is where I just mark execute, like right on the opening price. Put your stop loss at the body. Try to get at least 2R to this low. Exactly 2R. I went in 2 minis here. That's your first TP there. Your second TP is there. And this trader here is way more high probable than the one I took in gold, for example, in my opinion, because you have your 4-hour, but these aligned draws at this point, the daily already expanded away. Equal lows, like it's really nice on it. This is a really nice trade. So partial 1 mini at this low, then go break even. Well, you can already go break even right here, guys. As soon as you get this CSD, you already break even, by the way. Pretty much break even. Like, you're moving your stop loss here. Because what do? We retested our entry. This is a big enough, well, really, this is where I got in, pretty much, right? I got in here, but then we expanded away. This retracement, though, expanded 50% of the range, so there's no reason to turn anymore. So you can already move your stop loss very, very quickly. It's going to be right there. But you trim your stop loss at that low, not trim your stop loss. You trim your TP one. You take off 50%, and you go break even. It got really close. So obviously we're break even now, right? Got really close to our break even, but we survived it. And the overnights, it hits our TP. Pretty simple, right? Now, if you're a trader, a New York trader, which I was not awake, this is like 7 a.m. for me. I always teach the kill zone for New York for indices, or sorry, not indices. Gold and oil is like 8 a.m. So here's 8 a.m. right here. You can see this gap in price here. And this is where we actually created a 2-stage PSP. Because this candle's bearish. We take it out there. Remember, we had this SMT fill here. Gold didn't really expand in that candle. You can see here, it creates that 2-stage right here. So the previous candle creates like a CT, or like an expansion candle, right? Or it creates the SMT, it hits the SMT, right? But it doesn't really reverse. It's an expansion candle. So you can see that price reverses off of the high to create a C2 expansion candle. So while this asset is taking out a high, right, taking out this high, this asset is going to be in a gap. So it's like advanced premium discount. It's in a gap while this asset takes the overall high. So you can trade this, right, on either asset, but you can see here, whether you take it off this CSD, whatever, right, that CSD, what about over here? This asset doesn't really have a CSD yet. Unless you take like the 1 minute or something, that's all up to you. I don't really take the 1 minute too much, but this has the first CSD, and you can target all these lows. Look at all these lows, dude. Super nice lows. And potentially this low, the overall daily low. You see how much closer this asset was to that low, though? Way, way closer. But yeah, these lows are really nice. They're just failure swings on the daily. But this can be an entry potentially. You can pretty much put your stop loss right here, like 50% of the wick, whatever you want. As long as you have 2R to this low, you're pretty much good, which you definitely do. That's your first objective. You always want 2R to your first objective, ideally. So that would have been really nice. Now, if you took silver here, this is a valid, say you took it right here, for example. Probably like something like that, right? You would go break even right here, probably. Because it retraces 50%, right? And then has a CSD, so you can trail it right there, or go break even in general, and you would take a break even. Or if you just take this in general, like as a propulsion block, you're getting stopped out there. That would be valid. I don't know what's up with that. 8:30, we don't have news, so it's just like expanded really high. But gold didn't do that. Gold didn't really do that, but unless this is a 5-minute gap. Hold on, is this a 5-minute gap? Okay, no, you're good. It hit the gap. You're good. So yeah, that's a valid loss there. There's also another potential valid loss if you took continuation in New York. It's like this SMT fill. I know one of my students took like a basic at break even, the way I manage. So this is an hourly SMT fill here. Pretty low in the range, like we took out this objective, but there is a potential reason to go lower. Sorry if you hit these dogs, man. It's like someone's dogs. But yeah, there's equal lows and all that, so it checks out, honestly. And yeah, there's SMT fill right there. Boom, boom. And there's a 30-minute PSP. So I honestly like it. 30-minute PSP here. Whoops. Bullish, right? Bullish, bearish. Go to the 5 minutes. You could take a positional entry here. Right? Whether you took maybe the first CSD or just positional entry in general, Like maybe just mark executed. I do that all the time. I just mark execute on the closure of the candle to try to trade that C3 basically. So like I did on my silver trade, you could just do this, mark execute on the opening price of C3, put a stop loss up here. Or maybe you could have got a little bit more greedy in one of this gap or something for a smaller stop loss. It's just no point. I don't really feel the need to do that because if you just mark execute, you still get 4R to this low. And that's like the low hanging fruit low. And then all the way down here is 6R, with just mark executing. So there's like no real reason to do that, but you know, you do you. But either one, it doesn't matter which one you take, honestly. Maybe it's this right here. Whatever, dude. Maybe it's this first CST on the 3 minute. Doesn't matter. Either way, we open up 11 a.m. and we have the CST here. So this is what I mean. If you took the continuation off of this, you would just took a loss. But if you got in earlier for the first entry, this is why I think the first entry is a lot of times like really forgiving, because you just need price to do this right here, and you can already move your stop loss right here. You go from here to already down here, because this is about 50% of the range, just about, right? I would say it's fine. You're already like really low in the range anyway, so I think it's cool, and it just saves you from a loss really, or like a bigger loss. But yeah, if you took this entry here, you just can't do anything about it really. I mean, I don't think there's a way you can go break even. Now, if you did this, if you got this CST here, you could have maybe trailed, you know, to right here. You could potentially do that, but you just give you the close, so you're not even on the 5 minute or anything. So yeah, you just take that loss there. So that's really all I have for today. There's nothing else later in the day that happened. Honestly, like there's no confirmation to this either. I just don't believe there is. I don't really see anything. So yeah, that's really gold today. Woulda, coulda, shoulda held down here, but it's all good. We got a nice silver trade. But yeah, pretty happy with this overall price action. You can see how I'm just using strength switching on really this 4-hour universal model, 4-hour strength switch, high of day strength switch, continuation, you know, 2-stage SMT fill, but you even get a confirmation there on the hourly, which is strength switch. I mean, just strength switch PSP, bro. It's not really that complicated. But yeah, man, that's my day. Not really too much trades this week. Honestly, may have like 3 or 4, but that's plenty, man. Tomorrow I'm not trading. I'm gonna be busy. And yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. Catch you guys later.